Korean dominance had not really taken over. This was also kind of before Koreans started flooding MLGs. Like, you could actually get some deep runs as kind of quote-unquote no-names. I'm getting stuck on the nostalgia, but I like it. And then maybe one other person. I don't really remember Insur so much, but apparently he did pretty well. Oh, Kibbles is on that team! Oh, it's so funny. Yeah, Kibbles, and yeah, Tempo was on that team. Jay Echo, I think, had a good run. And then that's kind of all I remember. I kind of remember Daisuke. Daisuke. Anyways. We're done with the nostalgia. Okay, into this game. In the top right, going for... Oh my god, that's so funny. In the top right, going for the 2 racks, it is Timorus. And in the bottom left, going for the 2 racks, it is Cuddlebear. Good old-fashioned 2 racks versus 2 racks. It gets silly. It gets silly fast. You don't scout with the 2 racks. You can't really afford to send an SCV to just go scout. So the scout is your SCV that goes into the base. If it even does. This is actually a map that... I mean, it's like fairly popular for the situation. You do have this entire, it's not big, but still it's a ledge that you can jump up and down on. But the reason it's not like super popular, it's actually not abusive. You know, like, was it New Creek Precinct that was like super stupid for Reapers? Regardless, is that there's actually not another option, right? You don't hop up here, jump down, and then jump up here. That's when Reaper stuff gets shitty. So in the same vein, your SCV doesn't just stop building and then go into the main and scout either. It kind of has to go loop-a-loop. But it will eventually scout this. Both of them should be eventually scouting the 2 racks. It actually is going to be Cuddlebear who gets much more advanced notice. Timorus did not scout with his SCV. He actually brought one of them back, it looks like. So, wait, what did he just cancel? 25 minerals? Did he cancel a supply depot? I'm not sure. Anyways. Anywho. The mental preparation is so important in this scenario. But you also just kind of want to try and... I would say you don't pull SCVs in this scenario. But I'm not 100% sure on that. Because the reason being is that it's not about... It's not about trying to kill a Reaper. Like, if you kill a Reaper with an SCV pool, the other guy fucked up, like, a ton. It's about how many minerals and how many gas... much gas can you actually mine before all your SCVs are dead. Literally, before all your SCVs are dead. That is the real question. Because that determines who can make 1 more Reaper or 2 more Marines. So I think Timorus actually didn't pull SCVs. But they're both bidding 2 more Reapers anyway, so it ended up not mattering. Cuddlebear, though, can actually mine 2 more... he can build 2 more Marines or a bunker. But that also has to do with the fact that he was allowed to call down a mule, which... Cuddlebear is not letting Timorus do the same thing. That's actually a big problem for Timorus, who actually tries to come back home. And coming back home is just actually not even really an option, unfortunately. So... and now because the bunker is actually able to get up on a high ground, on a ramp, Cuddlebear just lifts his command center and goes over here. Where even though Timorus could do the same thing, you know, eventually stop this from mining, it already feels like it's too far gone. Oh, Cuddlebear not paying attention! Oh my god, Cuddlebear not paying attention! He loses 3, 4 Reapers! What was he doing? That's so big. That's like literally game. Like, I guess he was maybe like hotkeying his barracks and like sending them over and just kind of got... Oh my god, Cuddlebear's gonna lose this game. Oh, I can't even. Because the thing is, like, he's supposed to have 8 Reapers. Well, 4 of them in the bunker. So, like, a Reaper fight just basically should never have happened. Basically. And then he has time to build Marines because Timorus has his Reapers over here and he's freely mining, which isn't supposed to happen. Not for this long, anyways. We see now that Timorus is mining, but it's been happening longer for Cuddle. It's actually game. Cuddlebear just doesn't have any options anymore. GG. Wow. So I guess he canceled the supply depot in the main because he figured it'd be canceled / killed anyways, and that is probably true. So he just built it out in the middle of the map, but... Oh... I mean, the fact that he could get 2 more Marines doesn't mean that he, like, automatically wins the game, because you go into this really weird scenario where both of them do start mining. But it wasn't supposed to end like that. So weird scenario or regular CC? No, it's not. 5 SCVs, if they're saved once because it's still a command center, they're not going to be saved again. Where a mule can actually be dropped anywhere at any time and actually have efficient mining. SCVs have to follow the command center around and dodge out Reapers chasing them down and shit like that. So you definitely want an orbital. If they both have the command center ends in a draw, well, no, because they can land him a mule. There are no draws in TVT until all your command centers are dead. That was a big fuck up. That was big! He's gonna be punching himself about that one. I mean, 2-Rax versus 2-Rax is never an easy scenario, and even if you do take... I mean, even if you have 1 more Marine, and you try and get a good concave, sometimes the grenades just, like, kind of don't go in your favor. So... you still lose, but it's usually a pretty big deal. And usually it's the engagement that determines who wins. Like, he just wasn't paying attention to his Reapers, or didn't have them hotkeyed or something like that. Didn't expect that, right? I want to say he was either... I can't believe he was paying attention back at home, but maybe he, like, called down a mule back at home. I actually want to say that he was trying to, like, so he, like, lifted his barracks, was going to set them down, and realized, no, I don't want them there. I want a wall for my bunker. And then there was, like, a weird, like, they landed, so I have to lift them again. And while that happened, the Reapers were being attacked, so he didn't pay attention for, like, half a second. And then he tried to actually move them, but accidentally moved, like, the barracks or something like that. Like, I feel like it's that type of just, like, dumb, unfortunate sequence of events that usually causes a miss micro like that, right? Because there's really nothing else you're looking at. You know, this was a 20-minute game. I'm like, oh, he was clearly watching his army being stomped by ultras. You know, it makes sense. But in a game like that, I don't know, man. And I'm also shocked that Cuddlebear once again is going to go for 2-Rax. It seems awfully dangerous. I mean, Timorus actually, like, he was like, this is going to be a very fun matchup to watch. And I was like, you know, anything's better than nothing. And I'm pretty sure he meant it as in, like, oh, I'm just going to lose. He seems to play for University of Texas, so he's not unfamiliar to, like, pressure or competition. And he might actually be pretty good at, you know, his account was Masters at least. I didn't see what MMR, though. But it felt like he was saying I'm not as good, and Cuddlebear should be feeling somewhat confident against a guy he doesn't know. Or maybe he does know him and is actually scared of him. Or maybe the last TVT that he played, which was like a 20, 30-minute TVT, was so draining that he's like, fuck this matchup. I'm trying to juice the F-bombs. Just that last game just surprised me so much. And he's just, yeah, he's like tired of TVT. That is so dangerous to do, though. Because even if it was the exact same scenario, like I said, it's like... I don't know if you ever look at a situation where you both have the, like, even numbers of Reapers and go, yeah, I would have won that 100%. Because even with everything he had going for him, it still is just crazy stupid. But alright, it's not a 2-Rax versus 2-Rax. So, Cuddlebear There's got to be some differences in this build. I'm trying to think of if he could actually tell it's not a 2-Rex. I'm not sure. So once again, he actually just builds a second spotty bow out here anyways. No cancel this time. I'm not sure the gas is that different. I could actually check. 21, 20. Yeah, it is a little different, but is it different enough to be noticeable? I have no idea. Well, regardless, with Cuddlebear showing his Reapers and yet no Reapers showing up in his own main base, now he's got to figure it's not a 2-Rack situation. But Timorus is actually doing something perhaps even better. It's reacted Reapers with a Hellion. Now, here's the biggest difference. Alright, the army type of Timorus might be better, but Cuddlebear is going to have uninterrupted mining. And I'm guessing uninterrupted mining is actually better. Just because Reapers in high numbers still really, they just take out everything that is shown for the factory. Even a Cyclone pops out and 5 Reapers actually take that on. So a Hellion doesn't actually add very much. Yeah, I think the continued mining is going to be better here. Starport couldn't even be used. He just canceled it, which was a good call, but... Well, he has denied mining from Cuddlebear. Not enough yet, though. Still a mule. Muling along as well. I do like this setup. It looks like he's like trying to like bait his opponent. Either the Reapers come up and they get hit by this, or they come up, you know, maybe like over here and then chase them down into the Hellions. Like something along those lines. Or they come over here. But like, oh, this actually might be too many Reapers. That's what I was talking about. Yeah, it's too many Reapers. Alright, GG. I mean, you saw that the Hellions get like one good blast, and, you know, a second one could have been a game changer, but yeah, just numbers of Reapers is better. I wasn't sure initially, because you don't see that scenario too often, but I think I pretty quickly adapted and was like, no, wait. More Reapers, more better. Reapers are good units. So these guys just want to proxy each other all day. Good stuff. Vindicta did, in fact, take the 2-1. The final game 3. Yeah, it's definitely the wrong map. It's gonna be an Everdream. This is a posture corrector, but it also makes me look like I'm a gun-toting cowboy. Posture very important, guys. It's not just about looking good and looking proper. It's about building the appropriate muscles. That is going to save enough for a Banshee. I wonder if he could have. If he didn't build 2 extra Reapers, that's 100 right there. Pretty close to a Banshee. And then 1 less Hellion as well. Well, he'd have to build Starport and Tech Lab. I mean, once he realized it was a 2-Rax, that is an option that would have prevailed. Because let's say he gets 2 Reapers and affords a Banshee somehow. I think it's possible. But the 2 Reapers deal some damage to Cuddlebear's economy. Because if Cuddlebear just like gets to mine all day, maybe he makes a factory and tries to start a defense, but... No, Banshee would probably have won that. But that is certainly a game where you just can't think of that at the moment. It's far too weird. It's all tied up. Top right on Everdream, it is Timorus. In the bottom left, has the green tear, and it is Cuddlebear. Neither one of them going for the proxies this time. I thought maybe they had like a written agreement on BattleNet that they were all going to proxy, but nope. They are both doing something that I think is mostly defensive. Going for the factory expand here. Because of the last two games. It's always a little bit of... It's always a little bit of both. You know, you can defend with this. But if there's nothing to defend, then you can absolutely attack with it as well. You can turn this into an actual, like, I'm just going to attack you, get a starport, mine all the gas, get a medevac, do some type of, like, Reaper Hellion cheese. The world's a little bit more your oyster when you do this. And then when you take your guys out of gas, confirming the factory expand. Actually, I think you could take guys out of gas and still go for a starport. Especially if it's 2 out of 2 on both. 2 out of 3 on both. Anyways, if you go for a factory expand, you still have a few choices. One Rex expand is where you get kind of limited. Yeah. I'm going to say defensive for now. But this is what you should be doing if you factory expand. 1 and 2, guys. So Timorus going for 2 and 2. I think it's actually because he's going to go for a starport. I would have said proxied, but there's no SCV on the map. He's going for a command center as well. Well, there should be something changed up about this. It's a very, very small detail, and it could just be a mistake. I'm going to be paying attention to his production. Tech lab for him. Reactor immediately as well. Tech lab reactor. No, okay, it might have just been a mistake. Well, anyways, they both have similar openers. And again, well, when they determine, like, hey, I don't actually have to defend, they're going to use their units. By the time they use their units, it won't even be really worth it. So it goes in TVT, right? His starport was a bit faster. Okay. He could afford a starport and he afforded a cyclone at the same time. Okay. So it's a little bit different. Is it different enough to actually be worth it? I don't know. Dora the Explorer never hooks her thumbs into her backpack. She wraps her 4-fingered hand around them. The Canada Reaper aggression. Factory expands pretty good against it. Scouting is pretty good against it. Cuddlebear already into a Raven. Timorus actually going for a tank first. Because he got that tech lab so much faster. Oh, yeah, actually they swapped off. That's what happened. It's so similar. I think I just made a mistake. I mean, it's such a trivial thing. I'm just gonna stop talking about it. It's so trivial, it doesn't matter. Defense here is good. The Reapers sometimes get into that main base when you're not paying attention, can get 2 or 3 kills, and that's not what you want when you're both doing pretty much exact same thing. So denying it is very nice. Everdream does not have a lot of spots for Reaper hop up. It is basically this one. So one of the worst maps for it. There's other things you could have proxied. I'm just throwing it out there. Which doesn't want to. 2 Hellions and a Reaper are basically useless, so especially with the tank guarding this little hop-up spot, Cuddlebear will eventually just probably throw these away in a desperate attempt to get up the ramp, and oh my god, that timing. Cast a curse. I'm sorry, Morris. Now that doesn't get any SCV kills, barely any denied mining, but it does get the main base scouts. I mean, it was actually already probably enough to see a Cyclone and a Raven and 2 tanks on the low ground, but he got the full scout. Thing is that the 3rd CC, as you can see from the minerals, will be coming down literally now, so it was like one of those tough scouts. Like, I guess it could have been 2 more barracks, but it is most likely a 3rd CC, which you mistimed the scout. But as I said, he saw enough to know that they are both doing the exact same thing. Isn't TVT a wonderful matchup? There are actually a lot of openings in this matchup, but sometimes it is just this. Sometimes it is. Now, the difference can be if one person goes for Vikings over multiple Ravens, and that is currently happening. Interestingly enough, I did not expect that. He got his tank stuck. That's why 2 tanks appeared. The tanks can't pop out that way or pop out that way. That is so silly. He'll never do this again. So you would. So now we're going to be paying close attention to the timing of their production facilities. Stim is going to be faster for Cuddlebear, and he's going for those Vikings. Timorus has a third Raven. That is the biggest difference right now. Beyond that, it's going to be like if they mess up their production timings, because this push probably going to be held. We'll see how much damage it does. It'll also probably do something as well, so I'm thinking like a bit of just like a scary moment into a macro game. And that's when the barracks timing... That wasn't even scary. That was actually a disaster. The barracks timing is going to be a little more important. That was actually really bad. Good prediction, though, from Cuddlebear. By going upward like that, Timorus did not think about sending his Ravens in for the high ground vision. He didn't think about scanning. Even if he had sent his Ravens in, we can see it here. It's not going very well. One of the worst things you can do... Oh, he lost a second Raven. One of the worst things you can do against what Timorus is doing is just literally stay at home and defend. Because that's when your tanks are sieged, right? And you get interference matrixed, so they can't even move away. You lose 2 tanks right off the bat because they siege forward on you, and then they start their onslaught, very positionally based, slow push type of thing. If you get ahead of them, not just in the way that like you killed 5 Marines right off the bat like he did, and a Raven, but like literally you just get ahead of them, interference matrix here on the ramp, unsiege eventually, pull back, it's a lot better. It's a good play there from Cuddlebear. Timorus is a little sad about how things went down, but both of them were macroing pretty well behind this. So Timorus actually was 61 workers and a slightly faster 3rd TC on that ground. But as I mentioned before, the stim timing is a little bit off here. But perhaps more important than that, Cuddlebear never actually went for his upgrades. That could be a real big problem. Real big problem. Bit of a scuffle with both Ravens being used. Interference matrix on Timorus doesn't actually let Cuddlebear advance any farther. He has 1 Raven alive. This Raven's barely alive as well. Combat Shields is now on the way. Cuddlebear, I think, did just straight up forget his 1-1 upgrades. In his eagerness to deflect the push and get his own push going, he has forgotten them. He's actually still going along with what his brain is, like, automatically telling him to do. So there's definitely good habits here. He just never actually clicked on the engineering bay. He's an army on the way when you would usually be going into 2-2, and he never started them. Big ouch. And it's probably as easy as he clicked on 1, tried to double up the not double up the upgrades, tried to get the upgrade, couldn't afford 1, much less 2, and just didn't notice. Combat shields on the way for both players, and that is arguably more important. Like if you haven't gotten combat shields, it actually is like devastating. 1-1's not good to forget either, don't get me wrong. They both affect Marines and Marine tank drastically, but at least he remembered combat shields. But oof, yeah, now he realizes. So this actually might change how he plays as well. Since you're both doing very close to the same thing, you have to know that if you take an engagement, you're going to lose unless your tanks are just, you know, sieged far faster or something like that. So you might play a little more cautious. Some people actually take this as an opportunity to just go, well, F it. You know, I'm screwed, so let's just start doing some risks. And they do like a bunch of drops. But, nah, Cuddlebear is just sticking at home. Timorus does not know about the upgraded advantage, right? If he respects his opponent, which I believe he does, then he's going to assume that they have similar upgrades until he clicks on them and goes, wait a second. But my point is, neither one of them has a really good reason to move out. I think they should. They will eventually, because it's a very mobile matchup. You're supposed to be moving around, trying to catch your opponent off guard, despite Center Towers being super good. But for Timorus, he doesn't know he has an upgrade timing. And for Cuddlebear, he knows he doesn't have one, and is like, oh, I gotta be careful about this. But he's moving out. They both move out around the same time. +2 attack is gonna finish here. Timorus a little late to that armor, but this would have been kind of a timing. Cuddlebear knows he has to be careful. That scan is the opportunity for the click on. Oh, anti-armor missile actually is going to change things a ton. And the tank siege up is so much faster for Cuddlebear that this engagement goes pretty well for our Green Terran, despite being down, I think, at the last second there. At the last second, he's actually down 3 upgrades, with +2 finishing up. But for most of it, he was down 2 upgrades. Didn't matter. Anti-armor missile just changed that. Just flipped it entirely on its head. And his tanks were so much better positioned because Timorus actually had a bit of an ant line, you know, an ant trail, instead of having everything kind of all together. that was the engagement Cuddlebear was hoping for, just superior engagement taking. Certainly an important factor of TVT, not just whether you got your macro on lockdown. The upgrades are still not even. He has 1-1 finish up for Cuddlebear. Timorus is going to finish his 2-2. He even has +1 on his tanks already, going into +2 on his tanks. But he did lose a lot in that engagement, and he just saw how many Vikings were available. Cuddlebear was actually investing so much into having air control so early on. I didn't catch if that was a response to him realizing the upgrades were late or what, but it is a very good idea. Liberator's siege up. They're going to be target fire down, but tanks behind the tank interference magics are still dealing so much damage. Timorus, he actually takes this fight because he knows he couldn't not take the fight, basically. If he loses this fight, he's going to lose control of his 3rd CC, but in losing the fights, he might still lose his 3rd CC. The Vikings take out all of the tanks. 2 tanks remain for Cuddlebear, but no reinforcements coming forward means that Timorus will barely hold. It actually looked like it wasn't going to go so well, but it ends up being okay. His tank count is still looking pretty shabby. No one's on 2 factories yet, and in fact, Cuddlebear going straight into 2 extra starports. He really wants to dive into the positional game. Timorus, now he could try and just outmaneuver his opponents, but he's taking some pretty nasty losses here. I think he's feeling like he's going to be behind. He does not have a 4th base. He's moving his main command center over. He doesn't have a 5th base, which Cuddlebear is now grabbing. And might be feeling a little bit hesitant to actually move out. But this is probably the circumstance against the style of play, you know, the Viking starport emphasis, that you would actually want to start going around the map. It's a really tough thing to do, though. And unfortunately, staying at home didn't really net him a victory, as the 4th base, was pounced upon. The amount of Marines here look pretty good. Still with that upgrade lead, and take on all Marines and all tanks, and we'll even grab all but 2 of the Vikings, all but 1 of the Vikings. So still better than what it could have been. But Cuddlebear, seeing an orbital on both 3rd and 4th, is like, wait a second. Realizes that is the main base with the scan. Knows that his opponent is in desperate straits, and actually he is in the right to take a chill pill if he wanted. Because moving his army, a small army, into Timorus' Marines, and, you know, constantly losing just a little bit more, could actually be a way that he loses control over the game. But, you know, it's could've, it's not would. Which is, that's usually what we see happen when people kind of, like, get overzealous to end a TVT. They start taking worse and worse traits. And at first it doesn't really matter because they have such a bother economy, and then eventually it does matter, especially because we don't have the economy of Timorus actually being interrupted. Double drop is unfortunately found out by Vikings and Marines, so no escape. He goes for the Viking target, but he won't be able to save the medevac. He is still, by reducing the number of Vikings to 0 every time they engage, he is still taking away the opportunity for Cuddlebear to actually finally go into Liberators that have even more positional units. So that is some good news for him. But more importantly, if he's moving anything out of position, I think that's a lot more important. And what the fuck? The Marines actually got into the natural. They're like so injured. They're gonna grab like 10 SCVs. He takes an engagement on the left side. That's a planetary as well as like 6 tanks. This is not the fight he was looking for. He probably saw tanks on siege and thought pretty confidently that he could take a few outs, but then he actually engaged in the planetary as well, and oh, that's when you back up, man. 18 SCVs go down, which is nice for that trade-off of, well, I guess 2 medevacs ultimately, but those were like 6 Marines. Still has his upgrade advantage too for another 30 seconds, and he's about to find an exact army composition that his upgraded Marines might actually be able to take on. If they had medevacs, I think that's a sure thing. Sensor towers going up everywhere. Cuddlebear does not want to let this game slip out of his hands. Timorus is actually getting to a situation where he could actually start building command centers. They're both close to maxed out. Timorus more so, although he's going to lose everything here. And I think he should add on a 4th CC. He's not thinking of it. He actually sees a pretty vulnerable 4th base. 3 tanks, though, in a pretty nasty spot. He kind of had to go around this little pillar in the middle. So they got a couple more tank shots than they should have. And he also does not siege all of his tanks. His Marines find more of Cuddlebear's tanks to the south, however. He could try and pick up, but it seems like it's going to be a little bit too late. All of his Marines are dead anyways. 3-3 is now 12 seconds away from finishing for Cuddlebear, so even if he saw an opportunity to continue to engage, it actually was not there. Because honestly, with all those Marines injured and down at upgrades, this actually would have won out. But the upgrades finished, the tanks siege up, and that's definitely something that you cannot take on. Timorus still, having never invested into another command center, is actually moving his natural orbital command forward. I mean, that's all well and good. You might be like, there's not much of a difference, right? As long as something's attacking it. I mean, kind of. But you really do want a planetary being set up. You want another option for a command center. And, well, now his orbitals are dying. If this was a planetary, at least it would have held on for a little while. But it is going to actually straight up die. SCVs included. Pack of Marines are going to find it very difficult to take on planetaries as well. They can roam around the map. They can catch tanks unsieged. They can even do doom drops into the main base or catch a third base by surprise. But they can't really take on a planetary, and that has been a strength of Cuddlebear's position. It seems like it might actually be the GG timeout. There we go. Tap out because, well, his last chance is to actually get into that production, but he did not. So GG. Cuddlebear takes the 2-1. And we'll advance on to face Robbie, who's been waiting for a good hour or so.